Hi folks, Todd here with Great Escape Farms. During this time of doom and gloom and global pandemic, with people told to stay home and social distance, and hearing about the predicted numbers of sick people and death, I wanted to make a video that gives a little hope and maybe lifts spirits of those who have not become a direct victim of the virus. My plan was to do a walk around the homestead and show the spring buds, blossoms, and blooms. This was an attempt to show that while our lives have temporarily changed, life around us still marches on. But in light of events over the past 2 weeks, I decided to try to do a little more. Although I do not know anyone who has passed away from COVID-19, I truly feel for anyone who has or has lost someone to this nasty virus. I do not know of anything I can do to make an impact on the pandemic itself other than to do what is asked of me in social distance. However, there are other ways I think I can make a difference in some people's lives. In the last week, I've lost 2 people I knew to pancreatic cancer. One was a friend that I've known for over 18 years, and the other was a person I met only once, but we enjoyed the same passion of loving our rat terriers. I also know another person who has pancreatic cancer and has survived for 4+ years, but is still struggling and undergoing treatment. This video is dedicated to Rob Allee and Louise Schroll, both of whom lost their battle with pancreatic cancer last week. With that said, any advertising money received from our YouTube video and any money received from our Amazon affiliate program from April 17th through May 17th of 2020, we will be donating to the Lustgarten Pancreatic Cancer Foundation to help fight pancreatic cancer. In addition, I will personally match up to $1,000 whatever funds are raised from the YouTube advertising and the Amazon affiliate program. If you shop at Amazon, you can help support this cause just by clicking on the Amazon link in the show notes of the YouTube video. Then shop as you normally would on Amazon. We will get an affiliate commission that will be donated as stated. You can also help us by sharing this video on social media with your friends. The more people that watch the video, the more money it will make for us to donate. If you would like to contribute directly to the Lustgarten Pancreatic Cancer Foundation, their website is www.lustgarten.org. That's lustgarten.org. According to the Lustgarten Pancreatic Cancer Foundation website, separate funding is used to support administrative expenses, so 100% of your donation goes directly to pancreatic cancer research. Now on to the walk around the homestead. I hope you enjoy a little break away from world events and perhaps learn something new about plants and the landscape around us. This is a bud of a sour cherry on a sour cherry tree. This tree is, I don't know, 12 to 15 foot high. Here's another one right here. And sour cherry is the type you use for pie cherries and stuff like that. In the back here are all kinds of apples. Actually, apples are in bloom right now. The peach trees and the pear trees have already bloomed. So we'll go get a closer look at those in a little while. Now we're going to move on into the perennial bed here. First, we'll take a look at the vine here. This is an Akeba plant, Akeba, and produces little small fruits. If it cross-pollinates, I don't know if I have anything for it to cross-pollinate with right now. Although there may be male and female here, because I see 2 different types of flowers here. I'll have to do a little more research on this one, because you can see where my thumb is. That's one type of flower, and then that's another one. So it may have both male and female on that one. I thought I had multiple to cross-pollinate, but I'll check it out. Ooh, I've seen a wild edible over here that most people know. This one right here. This is a dandelion, and dandelions are edible. And the leaves right here, most people are familiar with the leaves here. I actually buy them organically during the winter and put them in my salad. It gives things a kind of a spicy taste to your salad. Let's see. Down here I have sorrel, and that will have a kind of a tangy taste to it in a salad. And this right here is sea kale that's coming up. You cook that and, well, once it gets a little bigger. And this is a Flying Dragon Trifolate Orange. So I haven't had any citrus on it. We're in zone 6 here, but I know a friend of mine has one in zone 6, and it does bloom, and it does actually produce fruit. It's kind of a cross between an orange and a lemon. And over here we have a bush cherry, and I need to look that one up. This one is a Carmen Jewel bush cherry. So it will self-pollinate. This is the only one that I have, and it had a lot of fruit last year. And this one is a Joel bush cherry here, and again, it will self-pollinate. So I love the bush cherries because you don't have to, for the most part, they're self-fertile. All of the ones that I'm on, actually, let me take that back. Nanking cherry is not. The two that I just showed you here and the one I'm getting ready to show you in a minute, they are self-fertile. And I like them because they're a bush. They're low-growing. We started out with the tree, and the tree is, like I said, 12, 15 foot high. You got to climb high to get that. This thing is going to be loaded with cherries, and it's down low where I can actually get at it. Over here, I have a chi tree. A chi tree is a fruit on a tree. It comes from China, or I should say Asia. I'm not sure if it comes from China or not, but it is about the size of a raspberry and looks similar to a raspberry, but it tastes kind of like a cross between raspberry and watermelon on a tree. Very, very unique. Only one place that I've found that sells it, called ediblelandscaping.com. And I have a couple of them growing in the yard here. And down here, I have comfrey starting to sprout up. So loads of stuff sprouting up in the springtime here. Everything's just coming alive. And right here, I have something called yarrow. And yarrow will give us, well, actually these are last year's flowers right here, so they'll give us great big tall white flowers. This is a Korean bush cherry, and you can see there's actually cherries right there. And this is another one that is self-fertile. And I got some kind of a little bug house here. I'll need to look that up and figure out what type of bugs we got growing here. Just try to figure out if it's beneficial or something I need to get rid of there. And down here is a baby blueberry bush. This isn't the one. I saw one earlier that had lots of blooms on it. I'll continue looking around here. Here's one right here. Baby blueberry bush that already has blooms on it. You can see the little blooms there. So should end up with a lot of blueberries. I have over a dozen different blueberries in here now. And you'll notice this is all overgrown back in here, whereas this part is very nicely mulched. So I'm in the process of ripping out mint that I put in here that took over. People warned me not to, and I was like, I'll be able to control it. Well, they were right. I was not able to control it. It went crazy. So what I'm doing is I'm weeding it, digging it up, putting cardboard down, and then mulching over top of it. And I'll have to spend the next couple years weeding it and trying to stop the new growth. Okay, back to the tour here. This is called Sweet Scarlet Gumi, and it is a sweet but astringent type of fruit, and it will be fruiting in the May time frame. And I just love this stuff. Eat it out of hand. It's smaller than a cherry, but it's just absolutely delicious right out of hand. And it does have a little bit of a pit in it. Some people eat it. The pit is not as hard as a cherry. It's kind of almost like a pomegranate, if you will, the pit. But good fruit there. Over here we have loads of grapevines that are just blooming out. And again, everything just comes to life in the spring here while we're all stuck at home quarantined with COVID-19 in the spring of 2020 here. Okay, a couple other things here. This one in front of me is called an aronia. It is a Viking aronia, and you can see the buds here. It's getting ready to flower out, and it will have a lot of fruit. Very, very astringent. Nickname is chokeberry. Almost difficult to eat that, but because of the astringency, it is very high in antioxidants, they say. Let's see, let me come back here and show you this one jumping out of the ground right here. And these things are coming right up fast. And these are horseradish leaves. So you can dig them up and use the roots for making horseradish. And I have enough in there, I could probably do that. I'll do a separate video on that. This one here in front of me, and actually it's two. So I have a bush here and a bush there, very close together. And this one is doing a good bit of fruiting, or not fruiting, but flowering right now. And you can also see the fruit. So the fruit on that one and the flower on this one. So this is a honeyberry tree. And honeyberry actually comes out before the blueberries do. So they look similar to them, but they're teardrop shaped, and they taste similar, but I like them because this is one of the first fruits that I get right here. So I'm on the other side of the yard now, and I'm standing in front of a Nanking cherry, and you can see right in between my fingers there, actually a cherry that's growing. There's quite a few of them on here. Nanking cherries have to cross-pollinate with another one, so I put these in as seedlings, so they're different genetic varieties. So I have this one, that one, and I have that one and the one over there. So all of them have fruit on them. They're cross-pollinating with one another. And this one right here is a mulberry tree, so it's still relatively small. If you notice, I have fences around these, and I have a lot of deer pressure here, so the deer tore the heck out of this thing, and I'm trying to nurse it back to life. Once it gets tall enough and over my head, the deer pressure won't be a problem, because they'll keep it trimmed up, but the stuff over their head will produce fruit and they won't kill the tree on me. This one right here is a pawpaw tree, and pawpaws do need another variety to cross-pollinate, and I have another one over here, and actually I have a dozen different varieties in the yard here, but I want to show you this right here because it just so happens that pawpaws are flowering right now. So that is what a pawpaw flower looks like. It is kind of like a lantern, if you will, and it does not get pollinated by bees. It gets pollinated by flies and beetles. It is what they call fetid, F-E-T-I-D, and it makes a stink to it. And the smell attracts the flies and it cross-pollinates. So these flowers will not cross-pollinate with each other here. I do have another one up that way, which has, I think, 2 flowers on it. So I may come out with a Q-tip and actually cross-pollinate those myself, just to try to get one piece of fruit, or one fruit going. This right here is called a cornelian cherry. It's a type of dogwood, and you can see right at the tip of, let me try to hide my thumb, right at the tip of my finger here, there is a flower that's almost spent. The petals have fallen off. So this one has to cross-pollinate, and there's another one up here. Actually, the blooms on this one are a little bit better. Let me go up and look at it. So blooms are a good bit better on this one, and a lot of them too. So hopefully these two cross-pollinated with each other. They were seedlings, and I can hopefully they cross-pollinated. And as I look at this, I just had a thought. I can probably take the fence off of this one. It is tall enough that it should be able to stand on its own against the deer. And this one in front of me, without a fence on it, is an elderberry. So I have quite a few elderberry throughout the yard, and these I just let go, and it took 5 or 6 years for it to really get big here, but it's way over any deer now, and it's just taken off. So that one is doing quite well. Okay, this biggie right here in front of me is an Asian pear that I put in last year, and it needs to cross-pollinate, and its pollinator is right there. And I actually had some fruit on each of them last year, and it was wonderful. Let me get a picture of this apple tree here. I've never seen so many blooms on this apple tree before. It's just absolutely great. And these trees were here when I moved in, and I haven't really done that great a job on trimming it, so I don't know why this year all the trees have more blooms than I've ever seen before, but they do. And this one right here, this bush in front of me, is a hazelnut, and got some blooms right there, and it's starting to bud out, so see what it does this year for us. I've had a little bit of fruit off of that one. So this big tree that looks dead in front of me while everything else is out blooming and flowering, this is a chestnut tree, and it would be some kind of a hybrid. It's obviously not American because it's small, but down here on the ground you can see some of the husks, and these are very sharp. It's like needles, and I can hold it here, but if I squeeze it, I'll be bleeding all over the place, so I need to watch the dogs from stepping on this thing. But it's late to come out, and it's late to drop its fruit and everything, but we do get a lot of chestnuts here, and the deer love those, as do the squirrels and everything. So this tree right here, and this one right here, and let's see, that one, where are we? Right there. So those were $5 trees from Lowe's. Lowe's and Home Depot, when they have an overstock of trees, they go ahead and they put them on sale, and they were $19.95 or $20 full price, and they were a lot smaller than this then. I went back, and they late in the season they were 75% off, so I got these trees for $5. So I have peach and pear trees, and actually there's another one right there that I got for pretty cheap, and I'm replacing, you can see I cut that one out. This tree right here is dead. That one right there I'm taking out because it's never really fruited all that well, although I see a lot of blossoms on it this year, so I may rethink that one, but the one next to it is not healthy. So I'm taking a lot of older apple trees out. They only last so many years anyhow, and I will be replacing them with new ones. And this is a Siberian pea shrub, and I'm shocked. I was wandering around earlier this week and I didn't even notice that these things are flowering. So that's awesome, because I could go for some more seed. So it is an edible, and it's also a nitrogen fixer here. Okay, this little vine here in front of me is a Chinese magnolia, and you can see it has a bunch of blooms coming on it all throughout. Last year we had quite a few blooms and a fair amount of fruit, and the fruit tastes kind of like lemons. It's small, but it has a lemon taste to it, and very, very unique, and I was just munching on that out of hand. And over here you can see the trellis. I have kiwi, and a lot of people don't think that kiwi grows in zone 6 or zone 7, but it does, and you have to have male and female varieties, of which I do scattered throughout here. And these are, how many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 6 different varieties. I have, I think, 2 males that will cross-pollinate the other 4 females, and they grow very similar to grapes. So you trim them similar to grapes and everything else, and you put them up on a trellis. Initially they were here for 2 years, and I didn't have them on a trellis, and the deer just decimated them. I thought that just having a fence around it would be good, but it wasn't good enough. I had to go up higher than the deer, putting on a trellis. And I see some of these are looking quite sad, like this one right here. We had a hard freeze last night, so I may lose some of the leaves on them. The other one right there is looking fine, doesn't look like it affected at all, and the one beyond that looks, again, a little rough. So okay, this guy right here is called lemon balm. It's actually in the mint family, and it tastes kind of like lemon pledge smells, which is a good flavor, and it's not poisonous. Over here I have Virginia Mountain Mint, and a good bit of that. I like this mint because it spreads via seeds. It doesn't spread via underground rhizomes like the other mint, so I don't have to worry about it being too invasive. By the way, the lemon balm is the same way. It spreads via seeds. It's not invasive and spreading all over. I have a bunch of comfrey in here, Bocking 14, so it does not spread by seed. I have to pull it out like a lot of perennials and spread it around. I have a couple of what do you call those, autumn olive that have popped up in here. And let's see, there's another medlar. There is another mulberry, and then I have several different elderberry back in here. And as I go along, oh, I have a Stella d'Oro daylily, which is an edible daylily, and you have to be careful because a lot of lilies themselves are poisonous, and certain other daylilies are not good for you and may be poisonous. So you have to be very, very careful with what you are eating there. This is a fiddlehead fern, and unfortunately it's grown up a little bit. You can see they're almost completely rolled out there. So fiddlehead ferns, you can actually cut off the fiddleheads when they're real close to the ground and tight and fry them up. And again, a lot of ferns are not good for you. Fiddlehead is the only one I'm aware of that you can actually eat, although there's probably others. And let's see, this one right here in front of me is the only plum that I have on the property. And again, tons and tons of blooms on that this year. And somewhere in here, oh, so this is an elderberry, and I don't think you can see it right back to the right of it, up near the top where the blooms are right there, or where the buds are coming out. That is another, it's a different type, a named variety of chestnut tree. Okay, and in here I have all kinds of raspberry. They're ever-bearing raspberry, so heritage, and it will bloom in June and then take July off, and then from August all the way up to frost it will bloom and fruit again. So I get a lot of fruit off of the heritage, and those are kind of spreading out there and headed up this way. Well, if you made it this far, you're either a homesteader or a gardener, or just have an interest in what's happening out here in rural West Virginia. I thank you very much for hanging in this long. Please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. Thank you very much for helping support this cause to help fight pancreatic cancer. I hope you and your family are safe, and thank you very much for hanging in here this long with us. Have a great day.